Okay. Bye.
Ko'y ko kamighimo tolangin Sikoy ko kamighimo to aldo wo'y bulan Ikaw ang nagbuhat sa kabituunan Ikaw ang nagbuhat sa kalibutan Manama, mawantog ka Warag po ko iling ko'y ko O Diyos, kahibulungan ka Busa ikaw lang ang simbahon ko
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم فقال ربكم ادعوني أستجب لكم آمين يا رب العالمين الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم آمين اللهم اجمع شمل المسلمين والكريستيان والأمة في مدينة دباو وسلم دائما مجتمعنا هذا بالسلم والأمن والتقدم في بلدنا هذا آمين يا رب العالمين ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب ربنا إنك أنت الوهاب ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار وصلى الله على خير خلقه سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين آمين يا رب العالمين
In the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen. Our most gracious Heavenly Father, we come to you today to praise and worship you and give you thanks for all the things you continue to provide for ourselves and our families. Father, we humbly ask for forgiveness for all the times we have offended you, when we forget to acknowledge your presence in the image of our brothers and sisters, and for moments we fail to be good stewards of the blessings you have given us. Continue to guide and protect each one of us, Lord, that we may always walk in the light of your everlasting love and mercy. Grant us, Father, with your comfort in times of distress and with your strength in times of weakness. Bestow upon us your unending grace and healing, that we may in turn become instruments of gentleness and compassion to others. We ask all this in the name of your Son, our Lord Jesus Christ, with the prayer and the intercession of our Blessed Mother. Amen.
Manama, mawantog ka Warag po ko iling ko'y ko O Diyos, kahibulungan ka Busa ikaw lang simbahon ko Busa ikaw lang ang alagaran ko
Good morning and welcome to the day one of the Division INSET on Remote Learning which is going to be held from October 28 to 30 via MS Teams. I hope everyone is sitting comfortably on their seats and are waiting for the things that we will be covering for the rest of the training period. This is Fernando, and I want to welcome everyone and wish everyone good morning. Now, we have displayed a presentation a while ago specifying that there will be some districts who should be joining CD1. These are the districts of Bien Unido, Buena Vista, Clarin, Daguhoy, Danao, and Hetafe. Let me just explain as to why there is a need for them to transfer. This training is mandated by DepEd in collaboration with Microsoft, and per Microsoft instruction, doon na siya murag limit, no? So that's the reason why we need to move some districts to the other group, particularly Bien Unido, Buena Vista, Clarin, Daguhoy, Danao, and Hetafe. So please go ahead and join the CD1 group. That's at tinyurl.com/BOHNSETCD1. Let me just present the my screen here. So I'll be able to somehow show it. Okay. Okay. So there, give me just a moment. All right, I'm pretty sure that you're seeing on your screen the instructions that I was referring to a while ago. Again, for Bien Unido, Buena Vista, Clarin, Daguhoy, Danao, and Hetafe, please go ahead and join the CD1 group. You can access it via tinyurl.com/BOHNSET-CD1. And for the rest of the participants, please make sure to log your attendance in by visiting tinyurl.com/BOHNSET-CD2 attendance. So just please make sure to follow the proper casing of these words, because in the event that on the link it's small letter E and then you capitalize that when you're typing it on the browser, that would normally redirect you something with an error stating or prompting that the page does not exist. So just please make sure to copy as is the link that you're showing on screen. Now, I know that there are a lot of participants here who are kind of worried that they may not be able to participate well, considering that they don't have Office 365 accounts yet. So do not worry. San Agustin National High School has an administrator account which is capable of providing MS Teams accounts to people or to learners. So please just go ahead and sign up. Go to tinyurl.com/BOHNSET. That's not zero. That's 0365 request. And then probably within 20 minutes or so, I should be able to create you an account. So please make sure that when you're signing up, you are able to fill out the correct email address, or else you won't be able to receive my response. So again, for those who do not have Office 365 yet, please request for an Office 365 training account, and you can do so by logging into tinyurl.com/BOHNSET0365 request. Now, supposedly, we will be joined by Ma'am Kashana Caberte for the welcome remarks, but according to her, she was having some issues with her phone, so she was not able to record her video. But from time to time, she will be visiting the conduct of this training, and she will be delivering her message to each and every one of us. So on behalf of Dr. Kashana P. Caberte, the Assistant Schools Division Superintendent, I'd like to welcome everyone to this 3-day Division NSET on remote learning. So this is this is actually a re-echo of the national INSET that we have attended. There were 4 of us who are not Microsoft ambassadors, and then there are 4 who are ambassadors. So there are a total of 8 participants who attended the national INSET, and then we receive a memorandum from the Office of the Undersecretary for Administration that we should be able to re-echo it to our own respective divisions. And that's the reason why we've divided the groups into congressional districts. So we have CD1, CD2, and CD3. It's fortunate for the rest of the CD1 and 3, because there are 3 people manning the training. Unfortunately for us, for CD2, despite having the huge volume of participants expected, because if I'm not mistaken, there's about 180, that's 80 something, 80 schools, secondary schools in the CD2. So this is just going to be a two-man show for the rest of the 3 days. So again, welcome everyone to the 3-day division INSET on remote learning. And with this training, we shall be able to encounter a lot of new stuff or a complementary stuff that we could actually add on to what we already have learned for the different trainings that we have attended so far. So again, please take note of the links. You can take a screenshot of those so that in the event that I need to move the slide over to a different slide number, then you can still definitely access that information and be able to visit this sites that I have indicated. So again, for Bien Unido, Buena Vista, Clarin, Dagupoy, Danao, and Getafe, please join CD1 group at tinyurl.com/BOH and set -CD1. And for the attendance of the remaining participants, please go ahead and access tinyurl.com/BOH and set CD2 attendance. And again, for those who do not have the, shall I say, Office 365 accounts yet, please go ahead and access that link. So let me just go ahead and copy paste the links on our chat, because I believe that there are some participants who expressed that they don't have the links yet. So let me just paste it for a moment. Okay, so please take a look on your chat window right now. You should be able to see the links that I've added already. Okay. And my apologies for my background. I forgot to turn on my virtual background. Okay, so let's get moving. So I hope everyone is pretty much excited. I know that you're kind of busy because we have school ICT coordinators for secondary and the school heads as well for CD2. But I hope that though we're kind of fully booked right now with all the activities in school, that we would still really participate in all the activities that will be conducted. Okay. And may I also request everyone to please pay attention to your microphone, please, so that we will not be able to distort the ongoing discussion. So let me go ahead and move on and proceed to the next slide. Now, the next part of our program is to actually recognize participants. And I am so happy to present that these are the participants that we're actually expecting. We are expecting 8 participants from Inabanga North, 4 for Inabanga South, Press CPG 16, Sagbayan 12, San Isidro 8, San Miguel 8, Talibon 1, 8, Talibon 2, 16, Trinidad, that's 12, Ubay 1, that's 10, Ubay 2, that's 6, Ubay 3, that's 8. My apologies for Trinidad. It didn't it didn't occur to me that you've been separated already to Trinidad 1 and Trinidad 2, and that's I guess the reason why we're showing a huge number there. So what's going to happen here is that let's have a yell. Let's have a yell per district. Not really district. There's a lot, no. Let's just have that done by municipality. So after perhaps 3 minutes, I'll be calling each of the municipalities, and you are expected to give out your yell. So, kas ara ko motawag sa Inabanga, and then President Carlos P. Garcia, and then Sagbayan, and then San Isidro, and then San Miguel, and then Talibon, Trinidad, and then Ubay. So, please prepare your yells right now, and make sure to showcase the readiness of your municipality later on. All right, and I'm pretty sure that all the participants are already ready. So let's get started with your yell. Let me start off with, so you may now unmute your microphone so that you can be heard. Let me start off with the municipality of Inabanga.
Hello.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. All right, how many are you, ma'am, in
Good
Inabanga?
morning.
Do we have the complete number of attendance for Inabanga? Right, but of course, it's going to be very difficult for you to do that considering that this is a group session. Anyway, thank you so much and welcome Inabanga to this training. Let me move on to President Carlos P. Garcia.
Ito, go, San Miguel.
All right, ay mo kauwa, you may go ahead and mute yourselves so that you can proceed with your yell. Daghan na ba ni President Carlos P. Garcia? There is about 16. Okay. Sige man na to inyong yell. Okay, good morning to you. Okay, there you have it. That was President Carlos P. Garcia. And again, welcome to this webinar. And then, let me move on to my hometown, Sagbayan.
Woo!
Pila ra man yung Sagbayan.
Yay! Good morning.
Sagbayan.
Yehey.
Sagbayan. Ari na ba?
All right, thank you so much, Sagbayan. There we have it. Now, let's move on to San Isidro.
Yay!
Okay. Okay, murag maapas na siguro tong uban, no? Kaya basin o dunay problema ang internet. Right, there you have it. That was San Isidro. Let's move on to San Miguel. Okay, San Miguel, nana ba to? Or wala pa? Nasayo pa tong unmute. Okay, murag mauwal.
Manang San Miguel.
Okay. Murag mao siguro mo tingog no kay I'm only showing some raise of hands here but not twice. Anyway, thank you so much San Miguel. Let's move on to the municipality of Danibon. Ay, iusara na. Hi, good
Hello,
morning.
hello. Good morning. Good morning.
Good
Morning.
morning. Zen, are you here?
Yes, good morning.
Kailan na
Good
jugos
morning, Sir
imong
Inat.
favorite ma'am? Good morning, ma'am. Kailan na jugos imong pitch, ma'am? Okay, let's move on to Trinidad.
Sa Trinidad.
Ako ron sa kuan. Ako ron sa musical star. Okay. Definitely, Bettina, that was from Trinidad. Thank you so much, Trinidad. And of course, last but not the least, Ubay.
Morning. Hi.
Good morning.
Morning. Good morning. Hello, good morning. Hindi na matingo?
Naka-unmute si Sir.
Okay, my bad. All right. So it appears that Ma'am Cass is kind of busy for the moment. So later on, I'm just gonna go ahead and have her inserted to deliver her message to each and every one. But for the meantime, let's go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and present to you. Hi, Ma'am Cass. Yes, Ma'am Cass. Good morning, Ma'am Cass.
Good morning. You haven't started yet.
Opening, ma'am.
Have you started opening na?
Yes, ma'am. It's your turn na.
How mo ba? I didn't hear. Naputol magagad.
Ay, mo ba, ma'am? Sorry.
Naputol
All right.
magagad, sir.
Mo ba, ma'am? Okay, so again, let us be welcomed officially by the Assistant Schools Division Superintendent of the Division of Bohol. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Dr. Kashana P. Caberte. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning. Thank you very much. I'm sorry to have kept you waiting. I think there was a problem with our interconnectivity here. And first of all, I would like to give my greetings, first of all, to the chair of our in charge of ICT infrastructure, Sir Fernando Inad, for the information of our and here task force IT platforms, infrastructure. And this morning, I'd also like to extend my greetings to your partners, Sir Inad, Sir Jim Boy. I think there are two of you who are managing this training, this day's training. And to all the secondary school heads of Congressional District 2 and anyone who is in attendance to this meeting, makita og good morning, everyone. It's a good news because we have heard that there is an additional district that will be added to Congressional District 2, and that is a district in Trinidad, because Trinidad will be split into two. So it has already been approved, just like what happened to Carmen. For the information of every year secondary school heads of Congressional District 2, Carmen has already 3 districts. So Carmen 1, 2, and 3. So that would make us 55 plus 1. And we really could see na Bohol division is really growing. So with your activity today, we really are happy here at the schools division office that the task force ICT platforms is doing its best to really capacitate not only teachers but also school heads to what is happening now in our present new normal in education. As you well know, everybody of us was caught unaware of this uh, learning that will be given to our learners nowadays. That is why this say capability building program initiated by our very active, committed, very competent Sir Fernando Inad. By the way, he is an awardee, national awardee. Because of him, we were able to win. Unsa to it nga adto sir nalimot ba ko basta it has something to do with ICT. So ICT in Manila. So you see, we are say given a first-hand expert here when it comes to ICT and so many other things. So going to remote learning. So sometimes me too, I would be confused as to how learning is to an online learning. But as I understand what really is remote learning because it has become now the trend of the delivery of instruction. So online learning, we know that that is an engagement and remote can also be done with the use of materials that we have. Well, anyway, I wouldn't go into detail because I know the team of Sir Inad be orienting you on this a kind of instructional delivery. And not only that, I can see that there will also be an orientation on how to this MS platform of our teachers. Parihagod na ho, even if I am already 60 years old, I must strive to learn what is the new trend in delivering instruction now. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to relate to my education program supervisors, school heads, and everyone on how we really can effectively deliver instruction if I, for myself, doesn't know on the new trends of delivering instruction. So as far as I am concerned, really, I would really like to appreciate much, and I have been telling this over and over again, that in the division of Bohol, we have a gem in ICT, like Sir Fernando, the source ICT infrastructure kanang platform. The reason because of them. We have lined up capability building programs because of them. And today, it is your turn, secondary school. Let us embrace this new normal in our delivery of prepared for this, but we really must embrace what is going on nowadays. I know yet what will happen for this year, but at least we have tried to capacitate, improve ourselves to be at least be ready. So in this day's activity, I hope all of you will be very excited on what will happen for activity. Kan yung tig-ari diri sa office, mangayo o moingon nga mo provide capability building programs on 6365 teams, but we are really privileged to Sir Jemboy, who really are so competent on this kind of essay technology, and that they also are very willing to share that with us. So thank you very much. Advance na lang ko pa may salute to you and to Sir Jemboy and to all the secondary school heads of Congressional District 2. So far, kung makita ire, si Ma'am Loretta Garcia, Frank from Dagnawan, Belderol, Feliciana Nino, Michael Sinagpulod, Joanne Boyles, and from the Kamambugan, I don't know who he is, then Guadalupe Bukad. These are only some, and I know there are many. To all of you, welcome to this facilitators will give Sir Inad and Sir Jimboy. Once again, good morning and thank you very much.
Great. Thank you so much, Ma'am Kashana Caberte. How about we give Ma'am Kashana a round of applause for the warm welcome. And we understand, Ma'am, nga murag doon nag-issue yung internet kaya you were cutting in and off. Kaya murag my other colleagues, CD1 and CD2 are in right now. Murag nag-ilog mo sa connection.
Ano, pugod, ayaw binta na hilong bito pud mo sir ko ba nakakuha ni suwa padayon na lang ko sir. Okay, sir, manakit ko mulib lang ko, sir. Di na lang ko musod sa 1 and 2 ug mahuni kay mag-meeting po sa baka 9 o'clock. Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Once again, thank you so much for gracing this event.
Thank you.
God bless, ma'am. Okay, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That was our Assistant Schools Division Superintendent delivering the welcome address. And again, we are receiving chat messages requesting wala ko noy specific district no sa attendance. Again, the attendance sheet is solely for the CD2 group, excluding Bien Unido, Buena Vista, Clarin, Daguhoy, Danao, and Hetafe. Again, for Bien Unido, Buena Vista, Clarin, Daguhoy, Danao, and Hetafe, please join the CD1 group at https://voh-NSET-CD1 as shown on your screen. And for the remaining katong recognized participants ganhina, you may go ahead and clock in at tinyurl.com/voh-NSET-CD2 attendance. And again, for those who do not have an Office 365 account yet, please request. So ako lang i-clarify ha, nay namuli og kuan. Nay namuli og screen share. Kadiyot. Okay. So, again, for those who do not have, ako na-clarify, katong walay mga account, please, katong mga way account ha, katong na mga account, ayaw na, please access that link and basically sign up so that we'll be able to create an account for you. And again, let us be mindful of our microphones because I am still hearing participants talking in the background. Okay, thank you. All right. So there you have it. Every once in a while, I'm just going to go ahead and display this particular notification so that for those who got cut off and this was displayed, then you can still have a review. Or you can just also visit the chat window and you should be able to see these links being posted on that window for your reference. Now, at this moment, let me go.
Inad,
yes, sir.
good morning. Naay raise og hand, sir?
Kuan na sir sa yes ma'am, boyless. Abi na ko si Sir Bobby to ganina for the recognition. Yes ma'am Joanne Boyless. I'm sorry ma'am. Ma'am, you're choppy, please. Just signify your intent, please, on the chat box because your line is breaking. Okay. Again, feel free to keep in the chat window for your concerns because we have not started the sessions yet. Sir Jim, hello sa mute, sir. Okay. Again, mamalihog miss mga wanag. Pwede tang proceed ko yung background and so let's get into the topic. Okay. Malihog please, akong kinsa ni wala nag-mute.
Sir Inad, pwede i-mute all sa lang sir niya pag unmute sir.
Ikaw sir, kaya I don't have punto eh. I'm
Yes
presenting.
sir, yes sir. Okay.
All right, thank you so much, Sir Jim Boy. Okay, it's just that I don't have any issues. I don't have the screen to mute participants right now because I'm screen sharing. Thank you so much, Sir Jim Boy. So again, at this point, let me go ahead and cover the training matrix, the things that we're going to go ahead and cover for the rest of the training duration. And these are these are the description targets in the topics that are provided to us by the central office. So this is to be run between 1 to 3 days, but actually the suggestion is just to make it 1 day. But we believe that the certificate for 1 day is not useful for your career advancement, and that's the reason why we extended it into 3 days. We just put in the training design that there's going to be an offline activity, so it would constitute a day activity so that the certificates that you will get out of this training is something that you can use for career advancement. Now, this training, like what I mentioned a while ago, is being delivered by the Microsoft Education Ambassador as well as the Train the Trainers with DEP and ETU. Kining TTT mo na kami ni Sir Jimboy. And then for the other CDs, mo to nasa Sir Glenn, na si Ma'am Ara, na si Sir Henry, so on and so forth. Now, these are the targets of this training. First is to actually know the basic of Office 365. I know that we already have an idea as to what Office 365 is, but let's have a somehow mura gamay-gamay lang nga deep down, no? Gamay lang nga digging so that we'll be able to understand the Office 365 more. We'll also try to learn what is remote learning, like what Ma'am Kaz a while ago. We kind of have a notion that the online and remote learning is the same, but they're actually just relative, and there's a not really significant, but there's a thin line between remote learning as well as online learning. And next target is for us to be able to familiarize and learn how to use a OneNote for the creation of digital portfolios, especially that we are soon to be ending Q1 and we are expecting portfolios for our students, especially for those who are working online. And of course, know the features of Microsoft Teams for collaboration and communication with the learning community. So this is not just geared towards using MS Teams for the delivery of instruction in a particular class, but for professional learning development as well. And then the last target is to deliver a virtual training session with students or even your colleagues using the Microsoft Teams. Now, these are the topics that we're going to go ahead and cover. Session 1 talks about getting started with remote learning. And of course, for every sessions, we have expected output, but you don't have to worry because these are not stressful outputs. These are just mild outputs. It's just that it's necessary for us to really be able to qualify this training as quality. Okay, that's going to be handled by yours truly. Accessing your Office 365 account from DepEd. Of course, there's another output for that, but then again, it's not stressful. It's just mild. And that's going to be handled by Sir Valiosa. Getting started with Teams, that's going to be handled by me. Getting started with OneNote by Sir Valiosa, and then continuous professional development by Sir Valiosa again. All right, so I hope everyone was able to take note of the training matrix. Now, before we move on, allow me to go ahead and cover the house rules. I know for a fact that at this point we have participants that have higher degrees. So at this point, please leave those titles at the door so that we will have equality here and we'll be able to treat you the same as that of the others. And please make sure to be on time. The reason why we're starting at 9 is we really believe that in this pandemic, we cannot always start early, no? So we're giving due allowance. So we're starting at 9. So I hope that participants will also be able to join, particularly at 9, because what we really try to practice here in the SDO Bohol Task Force ICT platforms is being timely. Okay. Now, a prompt attending to the session, prompt in attending to the sessions and returning from breaks. So we have allocated 5-minute breaks in between. So let's just make sure that we pay attention to the duration of the breaks provided and observe proper decorum throughout the duration of the orientation workshop. There will be some points wherein the speakers or facilitators will be sharing something. So we hope, we expect that the participants will just pay attention to it, and then if they have some questions to write it down so that there are or during the question segment, then you can go ahead and raise those questions. Or if you will be afraid to speak up on the microphone, you can make use of the chat window that we have available. You just have to click on the message icon for you to be able to take a look at on the message window and be able to send your concerns. Comply, submit, or post required outputs. Now, I just have to clear this up. We are only, basically, we're only checking attendance in lang na siya. That's every start of the training. And then we don't um, capture log out because the log out, we will base it on the outputs that you will submit. And of course, most importantly, have fun while learning. So let us not stress ourselves, no? Let's just enjoy whatever is it that we will learn today, and hopefully it will become significant to you, that you will be more eager to learn more and be able to share it to your colleagues or to other people who needs your help in terms of utilizing the tools that we're going to go ahead and cover in the entire training duration. So those are the house rules. At this point, let us hear a message, an inspirational message by no less than the father of the Department of Education Division of Bohol. Please help me welcome Dr. Bianito Dagatan.
Good morning, everyone. My morning greetings to all our school administrators and school ICT coordinators all over deep in Bohol who are in attendance to this division level virtual re-eco training of the National INSET on remote learning. This will run for 3 days, however, it is only 3 hours per day. Of course, my morning greetings to our training facilitators and resource speakers, Mr. Fernando Inad, Mr. Henry Nerison Jr., Mr. Glenn Oranio, Mr. Jimboy Valuso, Mr. Albert Albasto, Miss Araceli Torrefranca, and Mr. Jaime Kinga Jr. Our dearest school heads and ICT coordinators, the advent of the 21st century skills in the K-12 curriculum has pushed every one of us to embrace information and communication technology. The used to be the mindset, or the used to be our mindset that ICT is for millennials only is already a thing in the past. As much as our works right now relies on information and communication technology. From the preparation of school forms to lesson planning, we can all agree that these things that become or have become very challenging without ICT. Information and communication technology indeed has become an imperative tool in disposing our work regardless of our ranks in the Department of Education. In fact, with the current pandemic, we are pushed forward to embrace ICT. It is as if that we have transitioned to almost all virtual undertakings, even from meetings to trainings to conferences and now delivering instruction, otherwise known as remote teaching for the teachers and remote learning for our learners. It is a universal fact that the Zoom meetings, the MS Teams, the Google Meet, the Discord, and even the Facebook Messenger applications have been rebranded to perform as learning tools on top of their teleconferencing functions. We in the Department of Education are so fortunate to have these companies supporting us in this pandemic time by allowing us to experience premium services at no cost. We can all agree that declining these offers is extremely stupid behavior and that the most we can do is embrace them. The question is, are we ready? Do we know how to use these platforms? So, my dear colleagues and ICT coordinators, I know that a lot of trainings have already been conducted to the field, specifically to the teachers in the use of different ICT platforms in delivering instruction, but lesser to none on record, intended specifically for school heads. As technical assistance providers in your own station, it is but imperative that you know about these things, for how can you assess your direct reports if you do not have the same skills as theirs? Thus, you need to be skilled the same or even better. This 3-day virtual training is a good opportunity for you to not only learn these things, but to put them into practice until you mastered them. After all, schoolheads are supposed to be masters of anything related to teaching as your job description requires. This 3-day training, my dear schoolheads, is a relaxed version specifically intended for you, our dear scholars. Thus, I urge you to ask questions for things that are not clear and raise all the challenges you will encounter. After all, this is the very reason why you are divided into legislative districts so that all your needs can be easily addressed. Lastly, I urge everyone to stick to this training up until the very end and comply all the outputs required. Allotted for 3 days, so you can use your certificate for career development or career advancement. So do not just attend to grab one, but make the most out of it by actively participating. It is my desire to equip you, our dear schoolheads, with ICT related skills, not because the real world of our work now requires it, but for your personal and professional development as well. I wish all of you then the best of luck, and may this training empower you so you could empower others. God bless and more power to each and everyone. Handang isip, handa ang bukas. Isulong ang edukalidad because in DepEd Bohol, we care for all. Bihol, Bohol.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That was Dr. Bianito Dagatan for his inspirational message. And now let's go ahead and get started. Now, before we start our formal session, let's have first a short overview and introduction to the MAC, or otherwise known as the Microsoft Educator Community. It's supposed to be covered at the end on the fifth session actually, but we realized that we need to be familiarized with MEC because as we deliver our sessions, we will be giving out codes. No? Doon na may codes nga panghatag for you to claim so that you will be able to create your Microsoft portfolio. All right, now to do the honors of delivering the getting started with MEC session, I have my partner here, the co-chair person of SD Obohol Task Force ICT Platforms. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Mr. Jimboy A. Valioso. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Sir Inad. Good morning, everyone, to our respected school heads and also to our dynamic school ICT coordinators. My warmest welcome to all of you. Good morning, good morning. Right, so that's it as introduced by, mentioned by Sir Inad. I will be giving you, this is not really a comprehensive because the Microsoft Education or Educator Center will be tackled supposedly in the last part of our session, no, the 3-day training. But since this is very important because aside, as mentioned by Sir Inad, aside from you will have your certificate of completion coming from the SDU Bohol, so you can also claim your training certificate from Microsoft. So gikan gyud sa Microsoft mismo. So that is why we are going to, now we have decided to introduce this first so that you will be guided accordingly. And by the way, dihay mga questions about kadtong naay problema with the Office 365. So don't worry, actually naanay gihatag nga advisory ana ang ato ang Division ITO si Ma'am Dina on how we can have those accounts nga I mean wala gid mo nakahibaw sa password or wala pa ning abot, so kana gitakol pa na siya. So naatay online form for that, and also sa pagkakaroon kung kinsa toy wala pay account nga magamit for this training, please sign up mo adtong gihatag nga link ni Sir Inad so that you will be given the account for this training. All right, so most of the time, this is just a sample. Most of the after the end of our session, so we have 5 sessions now for the whole training. So you will see, Sir Inad, feedback ra ko, sir. Okay ra akong screen, sir?
Sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So you will see, no, nga i-assign mo for a certain code. So something like, say for example, kanisha. Now, please be mindful for, let us say for example, for the Inabanga North, Inabanga South, President Garcia, Sagbayan. So this will be given at the end of every session. So all you have to do is, inyo lang ning, inyo ba ring picturean, screenshot, as long as you will know the code. So these codes, magamit ni siya para pag-claim sa inyong certificate of completion from Microsoft. Okay, so the question is, unsao nato pag-claim ang ato ang certificate of completion from Microsoft. By the way, this is not yet, no, dili pa ni siya tinuod ha, sample pa ni siya nga code. Okay, so for the Microsoft Education Center, actually, I will explain more about this adto na lang sa training proper. But this time, our purpose is you can create your account or you can activate your account and makatuod na mo asa mo dapit mo claim, no, para sa inyong kanisya. Okay, for a particular milestone for a particular session nga ma-claim na ninyo mabutang na sa inyong portfolio sa Microsoft. Okay, so all you need to do is using any browser, proceed mo adto sa www. Or just simply dito lang, education.microsoft.com. Okay? So education.microsoft.com. Now, this is the gateway for the MEC or the Microsoft Educator Center. Okay. So, once makavisit na mo sa education.microsoft.com, so later siguro maghands-on ta kadiyot by this time slides lang ta kung asa ta padung asa susunod buhaton. Okay, so by the time nga ma-load na ning education.microsoft.com, so the display would be something like this kaning na sa inyong screen. Okay. So okay. Now all you need to do is mo diri sa sign in here. Okay? So i-click lang ng sign in. Then what you are going to do is mangita actually centralize ang account ni Microsoft. So what we are going to do is you have your account. Any account sa Microsoft will do. So you can have the R7-1. By the way, do not be confused kay kadtong first generation nga account from DepEd, wala siya R7-1. But ang new generation ani is na siya R7-1, but it's not a problem. So, just simply sign in, ibutang inyong email. Okay? So, in this case, pananglitan, this is a slide from Sir Glenn. May duha ka account si Sir Glenn. So, ari lang mo diri sa use another account. Okay? So, i-click lang ni use another account. That will proceed you to this window. So, mag-sign in. Tagalog siya. Pero actually, mo-defer na siya. Tagalog or English, whatever. Okay, so after this, simply type your Office 365 account. Again, dili gid siya necessarily nga Office 365, but it is advisable that we're going to use if ever naa na ang atoang DepEd account. Okay, so kung wala, dili lang gud ta ma-stress. So you can create your account. Pwede man ta mag-create og account adto ni outlook.com. Or, di ba, as mentioned ni Sir Inad, if for the purpose of this training, if wala gyud mo'y Office 365 account, so just sign up adtong gihatag nga link so that you will be given an account for this training. Okay? So here, ibutang nato diri ang atuang account. Usually, nasa ito mo nga at r7-1.deped.gov.ph. Okay, and then click next. And the next for this is you are going to supply the password. After that, so successfully signed in na ta. Normally, mamon dyan na. Maghatag ta sa ato ang email. And after that, the password. Then after that, okay na ta. So this is now the screen kung unsa man ni siya nga screen. That if kung successful na ta nga pagka-login. Okay. So all you need to do is click here kani siya. So this is for your account. Now, when you click this, naay mo drop nga kani siya. Okay, display. Okay. So, ang atong target by now is daghan gud tag pwedeng buhaton pa ani, pero this time be mindful on this redeem achievement code. Okay. So, again, for these sessions, after the end of each session, naatay ihatag nga code to redeem. Now, please be mindful again, tungod kay limited lang ang number of slots per trainer, so mo nang among gibahin, and then naara na ihatag namo at the end of its session. So anyway, di man sa namo i-flash lang kadali. So we will give you enough time to copy or to picture those code. So, gibalik ta. Now, once nakalagin na mo sa inyong account, actually, I am using my personal account for this, just for this illustration. So, redeem achievement code. Kani siya. When you click this, ang mahitabuan ni is that one. So, mangayo siya og redeem code. Okay. So, redeem codes to receive achievements for instructor-led training just like this. So, your organization or MIE trainer will provide you with such a code. So, you can also become an MIE trainer if you would like. So, ato nang hisgutan pohon no, sa session 5. So, to make things fast, mao ni siya mahitabo. Now, before you redeem, katong code nga mong gihatag ninyo, inyo tong i-key in here. And that's it. Ibutang ninyo din ha ang code. That is just an illustration ha, para dako tan-aon. No, for example, that is the code. So, i-supply ang code din ha, and then click redeem. So, how will we know that successfully atong nakuha ang na-redeem na to nga code? So, ingnan siya mahitabo. Mubutang sa inyong profile. So, balik mo, just like sa kang Sir Glenn. Daghan na po ning milestone sa Sir Glenn. Kay MIE ni siya. So, once you are going to click your profile, i-click nimo sa my profile, mao na ni imong mga completed. So, ang successful nato nga condition is that kung successful ang pag-redeem sa code, ma-appeal din hitong among gigama nga training. Okay? So, that's it. So, by now, dinha sa lang tataman, no, unsaon ganing to? First is you are going to sign in, no, adto ta sa unsa to ato ang sudlon, that is education.microsoft.com. So, ari mo dire education.microsoft.com. After that, you need to sign in. After that, supply your email issued for Microsoft. Okay? And then after that, no, once maka-sign in na mo, just click redeem achievement code. After that, supply the code, then click the redeem button. Then after that, that will be displayed sa inyong profile. Okay. So all right, thank you so much. So hope you get it right so that starting this first session, you can claim your certificate of completion. So, Sir Inad, I am going to give this back to you. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you so much, Sir Jumboy. How about we give Sir Jumboy a round of applause for a job well done in presenting his topic, which is the MEC. Again, the reason MEC, it doesn't have to be an account with DepEd. You can just make use of your gitawag na to nga mga existing accounts, no? Doon na ba mo yung Outlook or live.com account? You can definitely make use of that. So, but if you're going to be signing up using your DepEd email, pwede na po kayo na siya. Or if you believe that the email that you will sign up is the katundo na R71, pwede na gyapon to siya. So just to clarify, the DepEd ninyo nga walay R71, especially for field teachers and PSDSS, mao na siya ang gihatag sa Gmail, no? Mao na provided sa Google. Kanang dunay R71, mao na siya for teachers, mao na siya ang provided by Microsoft. Okay? And with your account nga dunay r71.deped.gov.ph, mao nay makapaalaw ninyo to be able to download Office 365 applications such as Microsoft Word, PowerPoint, Excel, so on and so forth. Right? There you have it. Again, that was Sir Jumboy for an amazing way of presenting what an MEC is. So hopefully at the end of the 3-day training period, we shall be able to see a lot of training portfolio already that you have attended, no? And then not only that, in session 5, Sir Jumboy will talk about as to how to join other trainings provided by Microsoft. And by attending, you will be able to gain badges, no, that may qualify you to become a Microsoft Innovative Educator. All right. Now, at this point, I'm going to go ahead and before starting off with session 1, I'm gonna go ahead and share the accounts that you have requested. So far, I only got 17 from Ma'am Rachel Garcia, Glenn Codimos, Joven Cervantes, Milo Samputon, Rachel Samapa, Francisco de Vinagracia, Maria Marie Godito, Norin Gasco, Jeneline Alo, Ronel, Thursday Sancho, Jovelyn Sensano, Victor Hubahib, Vivian Valentos, Kirwin Barangan, Irene Simacon, Jonathan Goyeneche. So, in the meantime, mauni inyong mga account. Katong wala pa naka-sign up, please continue doing so that before we start with session 2, inyo na gyud siyang magamit kay we will be utilizing this in session 2. Alright, so session 1 dili pa kaayo because it's just going to be an overview. But in session 2, we will be utilizing the accounts already. So again, katong mga walay email nga r71.depa.gov.ph, please use the link that we sent via chat for you to be able to request an Office 365 account. For those who already have requested the Office 365 account, these are your username and password. So please go ahead and take note. Mao na siya ang inyong username. The accounts or the license that I'm providing you now is A1 for teachers. So you should be able to perform the things that a teacher license can do. Okay, doon na may difference no kung student account, kay kung student account, the student account cannot create a virtual classroom specific to a classroom delivery. But for teachers, na siya daghan nga options in terms of creating teams. So again, please take note. For your username, kuha na gina siya first letter of your name and then your last name, gisumpay ra. And then the email address is at sanagustinnhs.net. So the reason why it's sanagustinnhs.net is because Microsoft has provided San Agustin National High School 5,000 teacher A1 license to give out to our teachers, and considering that there's just about 50 in San Agustin, so I have spare accounts to use. But please be reminded that this account will expire on November 5. So at least during the delivery of the training, you will be able to really use the account, so that in the event that your accounts will become available from the central office. Actually, what happens according to Mambina, for those who requested for an Office 365 account, last action of the central office was September 28th. So it's like 1 month already. Ang problema lang yun, Ana, is that only the central office can create accounts and do reset of password. That's the reason why it's taking some time if you need to do a reset or should you wish to request for one. So again, may request those who are concerned to please take a screenshot of your accounts. So ang yung importante diha dapita is kana rag yung username and then password. So do not log in yet because Sir Jimboy will walk you through on how to access your office.com account and how to change the password, how to provide recovery information. So in the event that you forgot the password, then you still have a way of retrieving your account. So I hope you're able to get a screenshot already. So there you have it. Now, it's already my time. Okay. All right. It's going to be session 1 already, and it's going to talk about getting started with remote learning. Actually, I'm kind of hesitant to deliver this session because I know for a fact that most of you have attended already the LDM. So this might be some kind of a duplication, but when I check on the content, I realized that it certainly is not a duplication, but rather a complementary session that would improve or somehow upgrade our understanding about distance education, particularly remote learning. So let me just go ahead and share my screen for a moment. All right, Sir Jumboy, there are some questions on the chat window. Palog ko, sir. Okay, so I hope everyone is already ready. So my topic is all about getting started with remote learning. Now, before I'm gonna go ahead and get started, let me just first manifest the the objectives of this training or this session. First is to learn what is remote learning. Ano mag-learn? Pamatanga nakabalo naman ta. One of the reasons is for us to really differentiate what remote learning is as compared to online learning. And of course, improve our understanding on the difference between synchronous and asynchronous, and evaluate the types of assessment available in remote learning. We'll also try to grasp as to what are these tools that we can possibly use to conduct formal assessment and summative assessment. And then, of course, we'll try to learn how to plan structuring the school day. And I'm pretty sure you're already best at that because of the regional memorandum on the weekly home plan. But it's kind of, there's a difference because I believe that it was Microsoft who initiated it, and then it's only DepEd who somehow tried to get an inspiration from, because the training was conducted around May, and then the memorandum on the weekly home learning plan was just issued around June or July. And of course, explore ways to incorporate social and emotional components into remote learning experiences, because this is one of the things that we tend to forget. We're just too focused on being able to deliver, but the humanity, not really humanity, but the social and emotional components are kind of put aside. So I hope that this training will be able to give you somehow a good background as to how we can incorporate social and emotional components in delivering remote learning experience. Now, these are our agenda. I'm done with the welcoming. So we'll go ahead and talk about what is remote learning. Let's talk about synchronous and asynchronous, working with students remotely, assessment in remote learning, structuring class time remotely, humanizing a remote learning experience, and maintaining routines. And by the way, my apologies for the rooster no, at my background. I just couldn't help it. It's there. All right. Now, let's go ahead and move on. Now, for me to check, no, okay, I know for a fact that you already have a background with what remote learning is. May I request everyone to please open up a browser and then go to menti.com. That's menti.com. And then you use the code 9507199. Or if you have your phones with you, which is QR capable, please go ahead and scan the code so that you'll get redirected to the website automatically. So again, please, we need your opinion on this. This is kind of a cloud, word cloud, no? So just go to menti.com and then put in the code 9507199. Let me just share my other screen that would give us an overview of the results for this activity. Just give me a moment. Okay, so let me share my screen. All right. Uy, naka-input tugkuan. So we have two participants. Describe remote learning in one word. We have here extension. So at least we can have about 20 responses before we move on. Again, please go to menti.com and then please input the code 577441. Nalahi lagi siya. Okay, ari na lang para ito maglibog. Please use the code nga inyong nakita sa screen, the 5774417. It appears that Menti Meter has created another number, no, or another code for this particular presentation. So we have 4, no, and it appears that we only have 4 because most of the words are just the same. Meaning, if they have the same size, meaning they're of the same, gitawag na to nga spread. So, murag upat pag yun na siya, no? Alright, nainidaghan og input. Kas aray input ang code because the code is not even part of it. Okay, we have distance, extension, internet-based, online. Okay, what else? Some more. Learning for remote access. And then we have extension. So considering that we have extension as kind of the, aside from the 9507199, that explains it, that extension is kind of having a huge number of responses. Any other response from our participants? Far, okay. Right, remote for learning for remote areas, internet-based, online. Okay. All right. So nindot kayo ang technology karon, no? So should you want to kind of gauge something, or if you want to create a poll because you'd like to get somehow a picture of a particular dilemma, you can just go ahead and make use of mentimeter.com and create a slide there and just select which kind of a tool should you want to use. So it's menti.com. I'm sorry, mentimeter.com should you wish to create one. The menti.com is for presentation already, and thus you would need to have a code. So for you to create a presentation like this, which has a real-time display of information based on the responses from the participants, then you can make use of mentimeter.com. So take a look at the difference. Menti is for presentation. Mentimeter is if you want to go ahead and create your own presentation already. And there you have it. Yes, the the largest word that we have there is distance, and it appears that we're adding more. Yes, asynchronous, absence. All right, so I guess that will be it for now. Let's move on to our formal presentation. All right, so I hope that everyone enjoyed it. No, that's one mechanism for you to make your presentation as dynamic as possible. All right. Now, what is remote learning? Now, remote learning occurs when the learner and instructor or source of information are separated by time and distance, therefore cannot meet in a traditional classroom. You could try to infer on it. Remote learning is a reconstruction of the face-to-face class, only that there is a separation. No, there is gitawag na to nga gap. Doon na siya more separating factor in its time and distance between the instructor and the learner. Now, it is said that remote learning is a cost-efficient way to reach many people with resources that would otherwise be unreachable through flexible, customizable, and accessible learning space. Because without the advent of the internet and then there's pandemic, perhaps the only thing that we could have done is to be able to continuously reach out to our learners or to other people is through the phone. And we all know that it's kind of expensive, right? And it's not even multimedia. So the remote learning is basically an attempt to recreate the face-to-face learning instruction to the internet. Mo siya pinaka-simple nga definition of remote learning. Now, for us to be able to understand unsay man jud ning remote learning, let's go back to the distance education the Department of Bohol, Department of Education is actually offering. So, we are offering right now the blended distance. Actually, kung ato siyang tanawon, we're just offering distance for now because we don't have face-to-face. Technically speaking, if we talk about blended, it's really a blend of a distance modality plus the face-to-face. But right now, as of the moment, we don't have the face-to-face yet. So if we go by technically, we're just really offering distance education. And if we talk about distance education, it can be delivered per DepEd. Actually, there are four, but the fourth one is not sanctioned yet, the homeschooling. We have three. That's MDL, or the modular distance learning. We also have the TV/RDI or RBI, that's TV radio based instruction. And the third one is the ODL, or the online distance learning. Now, under ODL, it is branched out into two. We have the remote learning and online learning. And under the remote learning, there's mo na giingon natong synchronous and asynchronous. So unsa di kalahian sa remote learning and online learning. Now, if we talk about remote learning, the factor atong tanawon dyan ana is that there is still a teacher factor. All right? So, na-factor, nagyapon na teacher nga nag-prepare sa lessons at specific intervals. Kay kumingon tag online learning, what happens is that it's like a massive online course wherein if you enroll to that subject, you will be able to readily see all the topics from topic 1 up until topic 10, kung kutob ra siya sa 10, and then it's going to be self-pacing. Mingon ra siya. You are given 5 months to be able to finish that. So that's online learning. But in remote learning, relative na siya, but it's different. Why? Because it's well structured. It's like what I mentioned, remote learning is just a recreation of the face-to-face. So meaning there really is a teacher factor. So the teacher will prepare, perhaps just like what we do in DepEd, it's weekly. So the teacher will prepare the materials, no? Just like what we do with MDL, we prepare the materials, we give them out on a Friday, and we retrieve that on a Friday. So in a remote learning, what happens is that the teacher will still have to prepare the digitized materials and then put that on the learning management system to be used, or whatever platform that they believe is most suitable. And then the learners will access them. So, and then perform the activities. Kung may yung tag-synchronous, then of course there is a definite schedule to follow. So kung may tag-synchronous, kung kini nga subject, alas 8 ta, not alas 8, pwedeng chatra, discussion, or even there's a teleconference. But if we talk about asynchronous, there is no definite schedule. The teacher will just go ahead and post the materials, then we'll give not all the materials, just the materials for the week, and let the learner perform these things within the week span. So, muna kalihan, and I hope that we already have a greater understanding as to the difference of remote learning and online learning. So, mana siya murag, kuano, pinaka tawag na to dividing mark as to what's the difference of remote learning and online learning. But both are utilizing the internet as a medium. Okay. Now, how is online delivery different? Learners rely on the facilitators to bridge the physical distance that separates the participants. Social dynamics are the same, but implications are different. Nganong the same man, because if we talk about synchronous, we're still meeting, no? There's a meeting of the teacher and the learner, but the implications are different because we can all agree that the interaction in a face-to-face classroom is really different to that of the kind of online, because face-to-face, if the teacher would call out the attention of one learner, kanang makita na to kung unsay reaction sa bata, but in the online, the learner has the option to play mute or play deaf, no? And then turn off the video. Dili na to makita. So, grabe siya social implications. Murag, may na bata, ay, mas ganahan ko dili ko pangutanon ko, I can just go ahead and play deaf. Right? And it's okay. Right. So, mo na mga implication. The social dynamics are the same. There's still an engagement through discussion, but the implication, there's a thin line differentiating the two. Now, in online delivery, content can feel static and distant. Why? All right, because again, we can all agree that the feel of having a face-to-face is kind of really different with that of if we'll just do it online. The physical persona of the teacher in front of you in the face-to-face is really different to the persona of your teacher online. And I'm pretty sure you have observed this, that learners or people have become empowered because of online, but yet if there's going to be a face-to-face interaction, that kind of power is lost. But kung mag-online na, that power is back. So maraming nga ng implication. All right. Now, that's basically one of those things that makes online delivery different from that of the face-to-face. Now, accordingly, if you're delivering online instruction, you need to make sure that you're not eating up the time discussing, no? So you need to ask yourself, what is the enduring understanding that students need to have at the end of the lesson? So it's not like with how we do it with face-to-face, where we can utilize the full 1 hour to be able to deliver the lesson and conduct a lot of activities for our learners to do. But in the online, what's going to happen is that, considering that there is a difference on the social interaction, like what I mentioned, it is kind of boring and static. That's the reason why we need, or as teachers, we need to make sure that we are hitting the minimum attention span time of our learners. So you need to make sure, and you also need to ask yourself, if I only have 10 minutes with my students, what is the most crucial information for me to give them and for them to retain? So those are, I know that these are kind of challenges, because maglisod pa maganitag deliver sa tong lesson in face-to-face in 1 hour mo na magpaspasta. How much more if we are to compress it into 10 minutes? And that's a challenge, I know. But there are tools that would actually help us to be able to brave through these challenges and still be able to generate the same result. Now, there are also considerations when working with students remotely. First is technology. That's the first thing. You need to make sure that you only would not rely on what you have, but you also try to consider what your learners have. Do they have the technology? Are they just using the cell phone or they also have the laptop? If they're just using the cell phone, will they be able to access this technology or this technology is only limited to the laptop? So those are one of the considerations. Next is students' emotional needs. I know that we've been hearing a lot of a lot of noises in social media, a lot of learners committing suicide because of the modules, no? That I guess is the reason murag kuan na siya. It's like a hype that's going on in social media. Um, Morag, what happens right now is because the learners tend to have relied so much on teachers in terms of acquiring knowledge, and during the shift from with a teacher and to no teacher, dili po kumingon og kanunay, but somehow walay teacher presence, there is an effect on the psychological being of our learners. And I guess that's one of the reasons why these things happen, so on and so forth. So that's the reason why Secretary Liling has been so repetitive when she always shares to each and everyone that there should be leniency in terms of the requirements, no, in a class because of this. And then lahi ra magutong ko ando na face to face kay if you sense that your learner is kind of upset to you or do na ba siya murag kay ubos nimo, you can always see that on his face and then you can talk about it before the learner has to go back home. But for things that we do in remote, no, especially online, especially in modular, murag lisod kay modular kay kuan murag tag 1 week pa ang response, no, mura siya postal sa una nga dugay kay maabot. In online though, again, because of the mechanism in which communication is being delivered, tendency is that we don't get the exact picture of how our students felt. And that's the reason why, as remote teachers or teachers teaching remote learning or delivering remote teaching, we need to make sure that we also consider emotional needs of our learners. Third one is include electives. Unsa man electives? Maingon dayon ta, naglisod na mga ng mga estudyante kay daghan kayo na pa ba electives. If we talk about electives, normally, if we talk about a baccalaureate course, electives are those other courses that you may add to the learner's syllabus or prospectus for enrollment to somehow to do murag upgrade or enrichment, no? Now, what I could really suggest when doing remote teaching is to not be subject based when providing electives. No, I'm not referring to science or STE ha kay lahi po na naman sa electives yun nga required. What I'm trying to say is additional activities, no? You can go ahead and create another room wherein students will be able to freely do what they want, no? Or an activity that you believe is suitable for this group. So it's an elective. So that it would create gitawag bitaw na tong mindset that the Microsoft Teams or Google Meet is not something scary for them, but an avenue for them not just to learn but to also enjoy. And then other demands on students. I know mura siya kuan siya murag lahi kay paminawon nga maminaw ta sa mga bata ko in terms of demands. But again, we need to also understand that the setting is different. If the students come to school, of course their attention is just really school based. Okay, wala may manugo nila, no? But in their homes, the truth of the matter is that though they will be focusing on the modules or looking at their screens to be able to read readings or perform activities, tendency is that their parents can still make sugo, no? So that's the reason why we always need to connect the other demands to emotional needs, okay? They are somehow related. And of course, the last consideration is the bandwidth. So unsa man ang bandwidth? Um, Bandwidth is basically the capacity of your network to be able to transfer data to and from. Okay, and normally, if we talk about bandwidth, we're talking about data capacity or data size. And yet, normally, what happens is that kuan, Surgeon Boy, murag dunay kanang concern sa attendance link palog ko, sir, or you may provide the Google Docs link, perhaps, so that they can just go ahead and click on the link, as they might perhaps be having some issues with redirection on their computer or cell phone. So going back, it is the capacity of your network to transfer data from one end to the other. And normally, it is being decided upon the promo that you're in. So if your promo is just about 200 MB, and then the conversation in MS Teams has already reached 200 MB, then most likely the student will get disconnected. So I know that as teachers, when we deliver remote teaching, we always want our learners, we will always want to see our learners that they're in there. But we need to also understand that there's bandwidth limitation. So perhaps you can just allow your learners to turn on their video during the checking of attendance, and then all throughout the other session, they can just turn it off, and then just do interaction via chat, and then turn on the video again at the end part. Or if you don't want that because you believe that you have a good signal or bandwidth, you could also instruct your learners, to turn off incoming video. There is an option there in Microsoft Teams that would allow our learners to disable the video feed. That way, if there is no video feed, tendency is that it eats up it eats up lesser data, thus allowing more bandwidth, no? So yung ana siya. Again, there are considerations, technology, emotional needs, include electives, other demands on students, and of course, the bandwidth. So I hope we're able to familiarize ourselves with the 5 most major considerations when working with students remotely. Now, let's go ahead and differentiate synchronous and asynchronous. Pretty sure that this has been covered in LDM2, and as school heads, you are the best people, or you are the people who actually delivered the topics. I'm pretty sure you are all experts on this. So again, the only difference between synchronous and asynchronous is just the time. Because if we talk about synchronous, there is a scheduled time. Say, for example, we schedule this subject at 8 a.m., so we'll meet at 8 a.m. So if you're not going to show up at 8 a.m., you will be considered absent, so on and so forth. But if we talk about asynchronous, what happens is that there is no schedule, and the learner is allowed to learn at his own pace at a particular given interval. So dili wa kung ingon og given interval of a particular topic. So kung naklarohon, given interval at a particular topic, kung ingon tag learn at his own pace at the in the given designated time, it can already be quantified or qualified as online. Dili na siya remote. Okay. Total lang klarohon. On their own schedule with the given topic at a given time. So tulad ng sumbayan, para ito maglibog kay kung may ingon ta nga katong learn at his own pace, normal atong masuso nung na kay online man eh. Diba? Pero atong gi-specify, learns on their own schedule at the given topic at the given time. Okay. So unsa may mahitabo diri dapitan? Say for example, I know for a fact that we're familiar with learning activity sheets, and we always name the learning activity sheet as LAS week 1, activity 1, or week 1. Okay, if you could notice there, there are activities in week 1, 3 perhaps, or 4 depending on the subject. ESP I know is just 2 because it's just 2 hours per week. So you then post the LAS or learning activity sheets on the platform that you will be utilizing, and you allow your students to access them for the whole week, and at the end of the week be able to let them also upload their output. So that's asynchronous. But for synchronous, there is an actual meetup, virtual meetup of the teacher and the learner. So meaning the teacher will be discussing, the learners will listen, perform the activity, and submit the output. Asynchronous, there's no discussion, but the teacher can go ahead and create a video. It's just that dili siya real time. Upload the video, upload resources, let the students access these resources within the given amount of time, and then at a specific period, be able to submit the requirements. Sa asynchronous pangutana, do na by teacher interaction, nagyapon. Why? Because when the learners would submit their output, the teacher can always comment. All right. Nagyapon siya ing ana. All right. So manikalihaan sa synchronous and asynchronous. Now, what are your thoughts regarding synchronous and asynchronous? What do you think would be better for your teachers and learners? At this point, may request everyone to please use the chat box and answer this question. What are your thoughts regarding synchronous versus asynchronous learning? And what do you think would be better for your teachers and learners? So if you're a school head, then think of teachers and learners. But if you are a secondary school ICT, just think of your learners as the subject of this question. Okay, how about we give about 3 minutes for that, and let's check for your responses. Can we have your responses already? Can you use the chat box to submit your responses to these questions? So again, questions, what are your thoughts regarding synchronous versus asynchronous learning? And what do you think would be better for your teachers and learners if you are a school head? And what do you think, or what do you think would be better for your learners if you are a secondary school ICT? So can we have some responses already? Okay, we already have some responses here. Asynchronous because we don't have, or asynchronous is better because we have poor internet connection. That's actually right. Of course, kung hinajud ang connection, having a simultaneous, no, doing synchronous is really difficult. Kailangan mo kasi teacher mag-discuss na si kaputol-putol, murag si Ma'am Cass, ganyan na nga si kaputol-putol, no? So, kung nakausap yung gisulti, so on and so forth. So, most of you actually answered asynchronous. Napoy synchronous, nindot jud kay sila kay na connection nga nindot. Yeah, correct, Jude. Asynchronous is better since the internet connectivity is not stable. Right. Both are favorable depending upon the need. Yes, depending upon the need, but also subject to the resources available. Okay. Thank you all so much for the participation. Please go ahead and continue sending in your responses. We'll take note of that because we'll be giving out an award at the end of the training period for the most participative participant. Grabe, no? Participative participant. Yeah, we actually have a raise of hand from Boyles, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. You can have the floor, ma'am. Ma'am Boyles, do you have any question? Yeah, the signal is very poor. Hopefully, no, dito will be able to solve these problems. If I can recall it right, kuan, there is a plan by Smart to build up additional towers. If I'm not mistaken, there were about 10 or 9 municipalities that they plan to install additional towers. Unfortunately, Sagbayan is not included. San Agustin would have been happy if there is another cell tower to be installed so that dili may maglisod in terms of the internet. But we're just doing our best. By the way, as we go along with our session, we will be sharing you some innovative mechanisms that you can possibly do during the course of the delivery of school year 2020-2021, because I'm pretty sure that most of the school heads are afraid of the upcoming dilemma in quarter 2 because we'll be utilizing modules already. We have been having a lot of challenges with LAS, which is just about 3 or 4 pages a week. But I'm pretty sure that we already have a background that modules are around 20 pages per week, and that would leave us kuan, no? That would leave us nga kuan kanang murag mahurot ang atong MOOE just for bond papers. But you don't have to worry because the schools division of Bohol, if I'm not mistaken, starting next week will start delivering the bond papers already to the respective secondary schools. For elementary, adto ra ilabay sa district, no? Pero for secondary, itag-sa-tagsa og hatod sa kada eskwelahan. So, congratulations secondary, pinangga mo sa pinangga mo sa DepEd Bohol. Okay. But according to Sir Dagatan, please do not immediately do the printing because they were able to save about 10 million. And what would happen is that mag-discuss pa sila, no, with Ma'am Joy Ironico and decide among them kung unsa nga module ang i-shoulder sa division office so that katong dili i-shoulder sa division office maoy i-reproduce sa school. Okay, so let's just wait for further announcement and hopefully that announcement will come out soon so that as early as now we can already start doing the printing. And just so you know, the Education Development Council of the province of Bohol is actually allowing schools to do reproduction for free. No, all you have to do is reach out to Ma'am Ironica and get an endorsement note or letter. And then you can proceed to the province of Bohol building so that you can request for a reproduction of materials. But it's just only for resource materials or modules, not for anything else. Okay. Right. Again, thank you all so much for the participation. No? Daghan kita responses and we actually learn a lot about the responses. So thank you. Right. Right. The identifying factor really is the internet connectivity. Okay. Bisan pag we would like to have this done, but if it's not a friend to us, then most likely it's going to be very difficult. But then again, perhaps tomorrow we'll be sharing you on that you could perhaps employ to your schools as a support to the transition from printed modules to digital modules. And I hope you will be here tomorrow and will be open-minded to whatever that we will share because we believe that this really would be helpful to you in our quest to still deliver education despite the challenges. All right, so let me go ahead and move on with my presentation. And again, thank you so much for the participation. All right, now the question is how do we, kay actually ang atong i-focus jud diri no, kay nag-focus sa synchronous o asynchronous. So let me talk about first synchronous. The question is, how do we encourage engagement? Because the ganhina, like what I mentioned, social is kind of the same, but the implication is different. And that in online delivery, it's static and boring, kind of boring. Now, how do we make our lesson delivery engaging in asynchronous? So synchronousness, yeah. No, there are actually 5 major suggestions that's being shared by experts. So basically, dili ni sila manggawas ng lima diri if it did not come from expert. First is students' age. Now, according to them, all right, the student's age should be equal to the minutes of uninterrupted instruction in one setting. So if you are handling grade 7 and then grade 7 is about 12 or 13, you need to make sure that your discussion should not go beyond 13 minutes. Dapat ubos sa 13 or equal to 13. So as a teacher, you would have to look at the average age bracket of your learners so that you will be able to adjust on how lengthy your discussion is, because according to study, if the number of minutes has exceeded the age of a learner, the attention span is affected and therefore they won't be able to retain that and they will become restless. So that's not coming from me, but coming from experts. So students' age should be equal to the minutes of uninterrupted instruction in one setting. So kung may po tag uninterrupted instruction, kana ang teacher nagstorya ba? Pwede good nga iyang iputol-putol, so na siya 4 minutes and then there's an activity. And then 4 minutes, another activity. Dili kay si teacher magstorya og more than 13 minutes. Okay, again, the attention span is already affected, and therefore we cannot expect that our learners are already engaged. Now, the second one is pause at designated times to ask questions. And I'm pretty sure that we all agree that we do that in our regular discussion in face-to-face. So accordingly, dapat daw, we also need to make sure that we do this thing. No? Dapat do naghihapon tayo pauses to be able to ask questions and let students share thoughts. Dili na po kinahanglan nga sila, tanan mo share, but at least do na mo share. Normally, sa face-to-face, we just select 3 or 4. But in online or synchronous lesson, dili man kinahanglan mo tingog tanan, di ba? Dili man kay microphone ra ang way of interaction. There are a lot of interaction. So learners can go ahead and make use of the chat box to be able to respond to questions that you will throw at them. Okay? In that way as well, kanang ma-push na to sila to be participative kay di man sila mauwaw mo barog, no? Okay, all they have to do is just provide their answers. But of course, as a teacher, you need to make sure that it is not going to be an avenue for bullying. Okay, basin batag wrong grammar, no? So you need to make sure that there is an agreement nga dili katawan kung unsay nga share, that all the answers, regardless if it's erroneous in grammar, nga dili siya katawan, but instead kanang i-accept as if using the context or his context, no? Kung unsay gusto niya nga i-explain or i-share, but dili magtan-aw sa mga problema, perhaps in sentence construction or grammar issues. Okay, so again, pause at designated times to ask questions and have students share thoughts or respond to a chat window prompt. The third perhaps strategy that we can use is direct students to a quick forms poll to gauge their understanding. So unsa man ang quick forms poll, right? Diba, when we deliver our class face-to-face, there are times wherein we will be asking them, or we would, what are we talking, pangutanon mo sila sa idea, or who's in favor of this, who's in favor of that, and then you ask them to raise their hand. And then in online, mo naglisod kay na siya, no, kay tan-awon pa mo tanan, no, tanang video. And then you need to understand that in MS Teams, it's limited for now. They have been promising to be able to display 49 videos, but though it's available in together mode, but we're limited to the interactions that we can do. Lahi ang interactions sa together mode o gallery. Kung gallery, you can do the mute from there, but if it's going to be gitawag na to nga together mode, there's no interaction. Now, what is an example of a poll, no, that we can use to gauge understanding? So what's going to happen here is I'm gonna go ahead and share another screen here. Let me just pull it up.
Sorry na, just for
Here.
the moment. Nay,
Yes,
nag-raise
sir.
hand, sir, si Ma'am Christy Senti.
Yes, sir. Or pwede ipa-take notes sa the answer, and then later on, during the question and answer, ato siyang erase. Or
Okay.
what's the kwan of the body? Or pero if she's ready to actually share, sir, okay ra.
Ma'am Christy, go ahead, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay. Wala ra, sir.
Okay. So, manong gingon ginhina, we were talking about direct students to quick forms poll to gauge your understanding. Say, for example, you were talking about a specific topic, and then you want to check whether there is an understanding. Of course, murag kung pure gitawag na to nga teleconferencing lang na siya, it's going to be very difficult to really gauge. But if we'll use tools that would allow us to gauge such kind of understanding, you can go ahead and create polls, no? Such as this. I'm sharing it on your screen now. So the learners can go ahead and access this kind of poll. Alam mo kabala ka kung di pa mo ka-access ni karon, because we'll do our best to be able to share this during session 3. So you can create a poll like that. Actually, this is not a kind of poll, no. Pero you can create questions such as this so that you'll be able to get the responses of your learners. You can ask question, why do you think the actor behaved like that? And then your learners will just go ahead and respond to it. And then you, as the creator of the form, will be able to see the responses. And that is already formative assessment, right? So it's easier. Dili na siya magdali kay kung tarungan pa dyan mo set up imong mga questions such as it's going to be multiple choice or anything, it would be easier for you to check whether there are a lot of students meeting the criteria and those who are not, so that you'll be able to check whether you do the reteaching or you can just go ahead and proceed to the other topic. Now going back, let me just share my entire screen so I don't have to switch back and forth. Okay. All right. And next is ask students to use a simple emoji in the chat window to demonstrate their comfort. So there should be a lot of ways for them to be able to share what they feel on that day. I'm pretty sure your learners are really good at creating emoji. Diba? If you go ahead and type in colon and then the closing parenthesis, it's a smile. If you're going to go ahead and use a semicolon and then a closing parenthesis, that's a wink, right? So I'm pretty sure atong mga estudyante anak kay maayo kayo in terms of simple emoji. So that dili sila motingog sa microphone as to how they feel, you can just go ahead and ask them to be able to express their sentiments or what they feel using the emoji. And of course, to make your quiz delivery more exciting and more engaging, you can make use of the Kahoot quiz in checking for understanding. So, pwede nimo siya gamiton as a formative assessment. And I'm pretty sure this is also a good tool for doing summative assessment because ang mahitabo man is, right, I just want to check, are you not showing my screen? Na ay nag-ask. Surgeon Boy, is my screen visible?
Yes, sir. It's visible, sir.
Namo gyud nag-ask sir kay blank daw. Okay, mo balik na siguro later, sir. Okay, so run a Kahoot quiz to check for understanding. Now, the good thing about MS Teams, no, as compared to, I have been exposed to Google Classroom, I have been exposed to Moodle LMS, and I have been exposed to other platforms actually used for delivering instruction. But what I like most about MS Teams is that it's like a one-stop shop. Why? Because you do not need to go to other sites or other tools for you to create interaction. Because in MS Teams alone, let me just go ahead and share this to you. In MS Teams alone, there are a lot of things that you can already do without letting students leave the MS Teams application. So we can already insert this. No, this is a video being shared. The form, kay kung wala pa ni, mahitabo, mo-open siya, no? Mo-open siya laing tab, then muwa pang estudyante. Then, ang Kahoot, we could also put in the Kahoot here. So the learners wouldn't have to go to Kahoot to be able to answer the quiz that you want them to take. They can just go ahead and click on the link in the post column, and then from here, play, so that they will be able to answer. So those are the things that you can absolutely do with MS Teams, no? Even creating documents can just be done here without going to MS Word. Everything can be done on this workspace, and that's what I like most about MS Teams. Now, of course, again, you can run Kahoot for formative assessment, or you could also use that for summative assessment. And the good thing about, pero lain na po kayo siya, no? Kaya more, it's going to make them competitive. Kay fastest fingers first man po ning Kahoot. So the discretion whether to use Kahoot quiz for summative assessment is at your hands actually. So you just have to make sure that you are able to measure possible consequences if this kind of tool is feature is being used for summative assessment. So that's how we encourage engagement during synchronous lesson. First is, again, we need to take note of the student's age and make sure that it is in consonance with the number of minutes uninterrupted. pause at designated times to ask questions. You can make use of forms to gauge their understanding. And then you can ask students to use emoticons to demonstrate their comfort or how they feel, or if they are satisfied with the discussion, so on and so forth. And then you can also run a Kahoot quiz to check their understanding. So that's how you encourage engagement in synchronous lesson. Now, we were talking about synchronous. Then let's go ahead and talk about asynchronous. Now, I know that if we have some videos that, di ba, kung mag face-to-face ta, and there is a, kitawag na to nga film showing, nga atong i-share sa atong klase. What we would normally do is, we will we will let the video play, di ba, at a certain time, then mo pause ta. Say, for example, there is, gitawag na to nga, it's about a topic. And then, ang nahitabo sa video, kay doon na siya murag significant nga event. And then, ganahan ka mo pause because mangutana ka. No, may nagag, unsa nahitabo? Ano nahitabo man to? Unsa gibuhat niya? Right? Okay ra kaayo if it's going to be face-to-face because you can always pause the video and be able to ask questions. Or you could also do the same thing for synchronous session. However, for asynchronous, wherein there is no direct interaction of the teacher and the learner, there is no discussion, you can just share your video, it's going to be very difficult for you to throw those questions out because the video would continuously play, right? What you could do is just you instruct to watch the video up until the end and then you have guide questions. That's more na pwede mo mahimo, diba? However, the good thing about this is that MS Teams allows us, though there is no instantaneous interaction between teacher and learners, it would allow us to segmentize your video. So someone has segmentized, what happens is that, say for example, it's a 10-minute video and you wish nga at around 30 minutes, do a specific event and you wish to go ahead and pause the video and ask question, then you can go ahead and do so. This would have been so difficult if this is YouTube or any other platform. But because this is with MS Teams and MS Teams has a lot of other integrated services, you can go ahead and do so. So bisan pag walay teacher, basta imong giset diha nga mo post na inig ka alas after 3 minutes and then would ask question at that interval, then it's possible. So an example is like this. So let me go ahead and share it to you. So an example is like this, but this is not a lesson video. This is from one of the trainings that I ran the other week. And then video ni siya. And then the expectation here is that around 5 minutes and 37 seconds, ang video kay mo pause automatically and would post a question. So ato lang siya i-drag by. Okay, atong i-extend gamay. Wait, right. Say for example, you already have the playing, then you're looking for looking and watching the video. What you can
Okay, so mga ma'ams and sirs, respected school heads, and also with the school ICT coordinators, our apologies for this. Nalang tayo technical problem as to, anyway, this is already known to us. No, mawa jud usahay ang internet connection. So, sa case ni Sir Inad, nawa lang jud. And sige, we will wait for Sir Inad to come back. Sir Inad. Okay, so while waiting, no, for your attendance, it's in the chat box. So as of the moment na ako'y no, naka-sign up nga around 64 kabuok. Ang pinaka-last ani is from Sagbayan, Ma'am Auda Espina. Okay? So, kadtong naawahi, please subaya lang nato subayan ato ang chat. Okay? Chat box nato sa conversation na dito ang mga links. Now, for our submissions, mag-una na lang ko gamay ha. Okay ra ba? Madunggan ra ko?
Yes, sir. Klaro na, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you so much. So, while waiting for Sir Inad, ako lang pong i-make use ang time, no? For the submissions, actually, parehas sa gitag submission bin tanan. All we need to do is ato lang yun siyang ng click ang right nga topic. So, unsa ni nga topic, then every session na atay ihatag nga submission nga file. So, it could be a screenshot, it could be a document, no, or a PDF. So, ikot-aral lang siya. Pero, again, sa gimension ni Sir Inad ganina, it's not that stressful. Sayang na siya kaayo. Pwede nga picture lang, pwede nga kaning screenshot or a Word document, a PDF document, which is you can do it, no, in just a few minutes. So, naragid siya. Now, I am going to, Sir Inad, are you here already? Okay, not yet. So, ako lang i-share ninyo ang sa attendance is that, again, we need to log in using our Gmail account. Now, sige, I am going to show you sa ato ang submission bin. For a while. Okay, so Sir Inad, please advise if you're already here. Nag-make use ako sa time, sir. Okay, so a moment, I am going to share to you. Mag-una lang ko gamay ha for this purpose nga nakuanta. We will be requiring you to submit no sa inyong mga outputs. Okay, anyway, that is also a requirement from the national. So, this is no mao gini siya to ang gamiton. Sometimes masayop ta pero naaman gud na sa link na sa chat, kopya lang ninyo og tarong ang address. And that is the tinyurl.com /inset cd2 submissions. Now, that time that you are going to no, okay? In my case, makadetso na kong sulod ani, it's because nakalagin ko daan sa ako ang Gmail. In your case, kung wala gyud mo naka-sign up or naka-sign in, so just go ahead. Okay ra ba ako ang screen? Makita ra?
Makita ra, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, muditso lang ko kinaobsan ha. You need to supply. Now, first, palihog, isupply ninyo ni no, nakakapital, surname, first name, middle name, separated by comma. Okay? And then from the district, then the school. Now, in case sa Inabanga, don't worry sa Inabanga, kay this is for secondary. Do ang nakabutang dito elementary kay integrated mong siya. So, i-click lang po lang tong elementary for the case sa Inabanga, no? Inabanga North Central Integrated School. So, i-click lang man bahalag elementary na anyway, naaman ta sa secondary, amo running adjust. And then, for this, kani gid siya pinaka-importante, the session title. I-click ninyo ang session title, no, properly unya i-submit. Now, anyway, for the naming convention, that should have your school ID niya inyuhangan for that, no, sa attachment kani siya. Now, this file, it's either image, PDF, Word document, pwede ra gid na siya. Then please recheck tanang details before ninyo i-submit. And we are going to make use of these forms since karon, tomorrow, and the next day. So all you need to do is just click select asa nga topic ang inyong submitan for that particular file. Okay? Sir Inad, are you here already?
Yes, sir. I'm sorry for that. Murag
Okay.
koan.
Sige, so
The router is actually in my brother's house and then murag nag-short circuit sila. Una nga naputol lang internet.
yes, sir.
Nagkarakarap ako dagan sa pikas balay.
Naki-make use ra ko sa time, sir, for the
Thank you, sir.
submission bin. Okay. So,
Alright, thank you, sir.
ako na mong ihatag og balik ni Sir Inad. Sir Inad, please do the takeover. Thank you.
Alright, sir. Thank you. Alright. So, let me just share my screen again for me to make sense of what I'll be talking. Alright, so muna gini ako gi-share, no? I was playing a video and then what happens is that I've inserted a portion wherein what's going to happen there is that the screen would change. So, it was right. Basta diri dapita. All right. So what happens is that the video would automatically pause and then would present a form of you asking some questions. So with this, we can always allow our students to engage on the form. So what was said by the speaker, either your students would go ahead and click on none, I don't know, or if you can, if you want to get their buy-in in a free form, you can go ahead and change this into a text form so that they'll be able to do some interaction. So in Ana, no, those are the things, no, that we did not imagine could be possibly done, and it's possible really. That is just by gitawag na to merging the capacity of stream. Kanang stream kay mo na siya ang murag YouTube sa Microsoft, kaya na YouTube kay sa Google man na siya, no? So the capacity of the MS Forms and the MS Teams, we're able to integrate them. So instead of just letting the video end and then ask questions, you can go ahead and segmentize your video and insert questions in between to as if para makita ginato ba, no? Nga doon na bigay interaction kay kung wala ni interact ang bata na pasabot na wala siya nagtanaw niya asynchronous ba ya saya. So wata na kaibaw kung nagtanaw yun sila. But because of this technique, what we can do is we would really be able to learn or to know if they are really watching the video because makita man nato ang ilahang mga responses sa kada segments nga imong create. So that's about it for how to create segments, no, on your video, and that's just really making use of Microsoft Stream and then inserting it with a form. And you don't have to worry because we'll cover that as we go along with session number 30, which is MS Teams. All right. Then again, there's also a necessity for us to recognize the need for brain breaks. Plan on no longer than 15 minutes of focused attention during direct instruction. Include pauses. So kung imo siya tanawon, duol lagi this one we discussed before. It's complementary. And then a small group of students to work a problem, discuss learnings, and share out questions. Question is, if we are delivering this in an MS Teams, how could it be possible that there can be a small group? Now, later on, in abot na to sa MS Teams, you will realize that there are channels. Okay, and because there are channels, what we can do is we can subdivide a group, the learners into groups and assign them to channels so that they'll be able to do some interactions on their own and be able to even conduct a video teleconferencing of their own. Or what we could do is we could also wait for the new feature of Microsoft Teams. I received a letter from them or an email from them that they're gonna turn on this particular feature mid of November. Unsa man nga feature? Um, if you are not familiar with Zoom, Zoom has this breakout rooms wherein the host can go ahead and subdivide the participants into smaller groups will be separated from the other participants. Nya madung ra siya sa usa ka lugar or usa ka meeting room with small groups. MS Teams will turn on that feature by mid of November. So by that time, we should also be able to do some breakout rooms, divide the class into smaller groups, and they will be able to simultaneously discuss from among themselves without having to intervene the main panel or the gitawag na to tibok nga klase sa ilaharang grupo, no? So murag nga na we will be able to use that mid of November, and hopefully it's going to be released expect so that can already be utilized. And then use the chat function to create smaller discussion groups. So the function, if I'm not mistaken, sa channel, they'll be able to do that. And then kung maabot na po tong feature about breakout rooms, then it's going to be another avenue for our learners to be able to do or perform small discussion groups. Right. What are the other considerations when we are delivering remote teaching or learning? We implement a variety of teaching strategies into lessons. So if you're good at creating videos, you can do so, but you need to understand that not all learners can learn easily just by watching videos. There are also learners who need to read on the text for them to be able to learn more. So it should be in a variation. So you have a video, you also have the printed, not really printed, but of your handout for you to share to your learners. Role model for students' best practices while on live calls. As a host, it is our usual problem that our participants are not muting themselves and you are talking. So perhaps the best way to become a good role model for our students on best practice us to also perform the same. So if someone is talking that you're also on mute, kaya normally host would tend to put that aside. And what would happen is madungog na to ang host na nakastorya sa lain or anything. Diba? Because if we will continue to do that, if we will not become models, then the implication of that to our learners is that they would see it as a norm and they would tend to practice it, and most of the time they'll do it for fun. Right. Next is take risk and try varied learning activities and experiences. There are a lot of tools that we can actually use, especially on MS Teams. Later on, or in episode or session number 3, we'll get to experience what are these tools that we can use so that we'll be able to provide a lot of learning experiences and activities for our learners. And this is very important, provide time and space to nurture student creativity. Um, that that's the reason, if you could recall the pet order number 31, it is so clear there that am I not sharing? Kadisa. Am I not sharing? I'm not share.
Yes, sir.
Sorry.
Wala, sir.
Sige lang, ganyan po sa bayan. Okay, these are the considerations, my bad. Saying the best practices. I should have been so cautious that I didn't see the red edges on my screen, meaning I am not sharing my screen. Okay, so enough with that. Again, provide time and space to nurture student creativity. Again, if we go back to different order number 31, I'm pretty sure you that we need to be able to allow our students, we need to be lenient in terms of deadlines.
especially if they're performing performance tasks, because we need to understand that there's an interim guidelines on how we compute for grades, and that is, eliminating the quarterly exam and increasing both the written work and performance task. And even in our case, for I'm a TLE teacher, and before, it has always been 20 60 20 20 for written, 60 for performance, and then 20 for quarterly exam. And then with the quarterly exam eliminated, I only have 30 for written work, and then really 70% for performance tasks. So if the student would fail on performance tasks, or was not able to submit, or you graded it lower than tendencies, that in TLE or TVL alone, the learner would really fail. So it's a good thing though that the transmutation table is still there. All right, now how do we assess learning, remote learning? Again, Debit Order number 8, Series 2015 talks about how do we assess our learners. There's what we call as formative assessment and summative assessments. Now, when we do face-to-face, it's easier for us to do formative assessment because we can just ask our learners to prepare 1/4 sheet or 1/2 sheet or whatever paper size that is, and then we ask them to answer questions or perform activities related that would allow us to gauge the understanding of the topic. Um, and then summative, we do long quizzes, and I'm pretty sure this is still true even with the Pedura number 31, because it's so clear on the provision that summative test should still be, especially on the written, would still be using quiz or long quizzes for assessment. Now, in remote learning, it's kind of different. Why? Because we cannot just go ahead and let our students get a piece of paper and then write their answers and then scan it and then send it over to you, because that's going to be tricky and tedious for them. So the good thing about this is that there's also a lot of tools that we can make use of when conducting formative and summative assessments. If we talk about formative assessments, we can make use of forms katong gipakita ganina. We can also make use of OneNote, something that Surgeon Boy will be sharing in session 4. Whiteboard, we'll also talk about that in MS Teams session, and of course Microsoft Word. All right, those are just of the formative assessment tools, because again, there's actually a lot. Pwede pa tamo gamit dihag Kahoot, or pwede pa tamo gamit dihag other tools in the summative test. Pwede po na siya gamitin sa formative test or formative assessment. That's up to you. And then if we talk about summative assessments, we can all agree that if we talk about summative assessments, we're talking about a summary of a module or a unit. And kung imo siyang i-compare sa formative assessments, dinagko ang summative, no? And normally for summative assessments, murag adto na to siya kanunay maigo gyud ana, dako parte ana is performance task, and performance task is usually project, so meaning they are required to present output. So the good thing about this again is that through MS Teams we can make use of Sway. What is Sway? Or even not using MS Teams, able to make use of Sway. What is Sway? Sway is like muna siya gitawag nga platform that would allow our learners to create interactive pages, kanang pages, mga websites, no? Without having to need to understand the foundation of coding. So, pwede ra ato sila mahilumog portfolio, or they can go ahead and create a blog, for example, without having to understand the mechanisms of how to create web pages. They can just drag and drop, and we'll try to cover that as well in our MS Teams topics. They could also make use of PowerPoint presentations so that they can create multimedia. They could also make use of video editor. Um, most of the cell phones right now already has a built-in video editor. We also have the Flipgrid. The Flipgrid is another feature that we can actually associate with MS Teams, but it can be used as a standalone, wherein you can go ahead and ask a question, and then kanang bitawng dili makaya sa discussion ninyo kay mahurot ang time. So what you can do is you can pose a question, and then you can ask your learners to go ahead and answer the question with them looking at the camera and record themselves while they're answering it, and then they can upload it directly to Flipgrid as an answer to your question. And then we also have screen recorder that we can let our students use for us to be able to gauge or to measure results in the summative assessment. Now, skill in an instant would it be? If you're gonna go ahead and focus your answer, so be careful. But right, there you have it. So let's before we move on to the next slides, may I just go ahead and read some responses there. Let me just stop sharing. Hindi makita kasi sender. Okay, so creating tests in MS for remote learning. We'll definitely cover that. It's going to be covered in session number 3, which is going to be tomorrow after, because we decided to move session 2 tomorrow so that we can end early. We don't want you to get stressed out with a lot of things in the in MS Teams. Okay, coding. Ano mo lisod dyan ng coding? Okay, remote assessment. We'll definitely do that. Skills in different platforms for assessment and teaching. We'll do that in Teams as well as OneNote. Media creativity. Somehow we will do it. Remote assessment, creating a flip grid. It's not part of the training matrix, but we'll try to insert that in MS Teams. We'll do our best to be able to. And skills in creating assessment for remote area. But I'd like to highlight that the assessment technique that we will be teaching is not really applicable to modular distance learning because they don't have internet connection. So the remote assessment that we will basically train you guys will be focused on doing it in a remote modality, particularly online. Okay, but then again, like what I mentioned before, perhaps after session 3, we'll go ahead and share to you an innovation that we think of as something that can be take advantage of, especially in quarter 2, wherein we're already asked to utilize or print modules. So magamit yung kanisiya, and then I know there is a corresponding cost, but it's just one time, and you can even ask assistance from the LGU on how to set it up, just like what we did in Sagbaya. So much for that. Let me go ahead and move on to or go back to my topic. Now, the next slide is actually structuring the day. I'm pretty sure this is not new to you guys because you have been seeing. I forgot if is it 437. That's regional memorandum 437 talking about the weekly home plan. So this is not new to you. That's the reason why I was able to infer that started or we talk about this in May. I guess this is one of the inspiration by DepEd to also create the weekly learning plan as to be indicated, no, as to be included in the modules that we send out to our learners weekly. So I don't need to really cover this up much kay naka-understand na tandri dapita. But in here, this is actually for the learner. This is an activity schedule for the learner in day 1, 7:30. So aside from just having this weekly home learning plan, doon natin gitawag nga daily, no? Kay we need to understand that not all subjects have the same number of hours weekly, so it has need to adjust. So if you could take a look at the sharing on the screen, you can definitely save that. Makaingon tanong nga the activities that are indicated in there as well as the times correspond to the usual things that learners do even with face-to-face. The only difference is that there is an opportunity where it's not always that they need to go. There's going to be a lot of times for them to stay at home. So ingana ang style sa learners. And I guess we don't need to cover that much. What I wanted to cover much is all about on a teacher's schedule. I know for a fact that most of us do not have this. We don't usually we don't usually log and put into timetable the things that we do for a day. But according to Microsoft, based on the studies that they've done, it is better to really go ahead plot your timetable for today. Why? One of the reasons is that you can measure your productivity with the accomplishment of the things that you have indicated in your list. So, ma-measure kuno nimo imong efficiency and productivity if you're able to perform the items that you have indicated in your list. As compared to if you don't have a plan, what would normally happen is that you just arrive at the end of your day and then you are not able to check for yourself whether you're able to accomplish something. Okay, I'm not saying that we're not doing anything, but the best way, diba? We have to be smart, diba? Namday time bound na kuan nimo, nakuha nimo, na achieve nimo, and what a better way to gauge whether we were if we were efficient or productive on that day is the best way to do it is to check whether the things to do list that we normally do have been accomplished or not. And I'd like to share something to you guys because before I jump into DepEd, um, I work as a call center supervisor and then alongside with my teaching job. So I work 8 p.m. to 5 a.m. as in the call center, and then 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. I teach in the college, and that has been my routine every day. So if I was not able to, I usually have the TTD or the things to do list. So if I didn't have that mannerism or management, I would have been dead by now because of stress. So I see to it that I stick to my schedule. So I need to wake up after work at 5 a.m. I need to be at home so that I can sleep at 6 a.m. and have a straight sleep up until 12. At least I have that longevity of sleep, and then I need to prepare for a class at 1 p.m. So I need to be in school at 1 p.m. and deliver my instruction up until 5. So that up until 5, I go back to, I go to work without having to change clothes already. I go to work and I go to the sleeping lounge and sleep for 2 hours before the start of my 8 p.m. shift. Had I not done that, I would have been so thin. Lam siguro kaya akong mata. And what I'm trying to basically share here is that um, we always take a look at the things nga nahitabo atong gitrabaho as stressful. The question is, were we able to put those things into our timetable? Were we able to identify or to rate or to associate these activities as somehow low, mid, or high nga priority? Kay perhaps that's the reason why a lot of us are stressed because we don't have the right timetable to look at as to whether when to do that and then how urgent is that, so on and so forth. So it's a good thing that Microsoft is actually sharing this as well because that would support that in everything that we do there really is a need for us to plan out just like how we do with our classes. Diba? We plan out that at this particular time interval we're done with the opening or opening prayers, so on and so forth, and that inig ka after 10 minutes dapat nakasugod na ka, after 20 minutes na human yung discussion, after 10 minutes kay man ang application, after na yung orasa dapat na human. So that's the same thing in our job. If we can just go ahead and learn how to put our task into timetable, then at the end of the day we can always say that you're production and that you're not stressed because you're able to to categorize things in terms of urgency and that you work on things that are urgent and then you work later on those things that are not urgent, right? So that's basically it. That's an example of the teacher's schedule. So I hope that by now, no, we already have an idea as to how do we manage our time so that inikuli na to sa balay kaya di ka ta stressed. Kaya I know stress na kayo ta in terms of doing the reproduction, much more the principals na stress na sila on how or where to look for additional funding, because I am pretty sure that we are all experiencing kanang breakdowns of photocopiers, even perhaps Rizzo and kuan. Amo gani sa San Agustin is that what happens is that supposedly we do ask our supplier 5 toners a week, but right now we're limited to just 1 or 2 because according to them they need to spread that out to all of their clients. Just imagine, it's already a stress. It's a stress in a way that's because you're looking forward and then how would you be able to comply the requirements in the future if what you're doing today is limited or restricted. So so as teachers, especially if you are delivering your lesson online, it is really important that you follow a schedule because if it's synchronous, then that would mean that you need to be with your students at a particular time. And even if it's also asynchronous, you need to also stick to schedule because you need to make sure that the learning materials and activities are already posted on a designated schedule. so that by the time that your learners would access the platform, you would already be able to see that. Kaya mo niyang consequence. If you're teaching online and then it's asynchronous, di ba? Asynchronous, walay meet up. And then naano rin yung estudyante nga, kada lunes ko mo check, doon ay bago. And then pag, okay, I'm pretty sure we can all agree that that would affect the psychology of the learner, right? And hitabuan na, dili na, wala na po siya schedule. Instead nga, normally schedule siya mo, lunes siya mo check, is either Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, madugay-dugay, di matunong sa schedule, mas stress out kay deadline na po. So I hope that we're able to get something out of this. This is not even limited to teachers alone. This is also applicable to school heads because I'm pretty sure that you have a lot of things on your plate already. And time management by plotting it out, putting it in a timetable is an essential skill that you need to have, or if you already have it, improve and upgrade. For me, I can always say that I'm already good with time management, even if I don't note it down, because it has been my practice. So I don't see a reason why that you cannot do the same on your end. Now, when you're also planning, you also try to apply the what we call as the wows and wonders protocol. So, kung sa may nahitabo na if you're teaching synchronous or asynchronous, you need to think about your current workday and you try to ask yourself as to what adaptations will need to be made both with student schedules and work schedules. Say, for example, on your end, you decided that you will go ahead and post new lessons on Tuesday. And then the learners want it on a Monday so that they will have enough time to do it over the week. So you decide among you and the learners to meet when. And if it has been agreed that at that particular time on Monday that these materials are already available, then you are bound to stick to the rule, or else there is gitawag na to nga dunay psychological effect on the learner, no? Kay di ba? We need to be role models. If we are not able to stick to schedule, would you expect your learners to do the same in terms of submission of outputs in a particular deadline? I don't think so. Next is add one wow, something you hadn't considered. Add one wonder, questions that come up from the sample remote schedules presented. So in delivering remote learning, think of it really as just recreation of the face-to-face, that there are a lot of things that may happen and that ma-happy na lang ka usahay, di ba? When you're doing it, ma-happy na lang ka, ay, na push through lagi ni Zia. So that's the same thing in remote learning. You anticipate for things that may come up unexpectedly, and then basically take note of it, learn from it, and be able to make some adjustment. Then you can also post both of your wow and wonder in the chat window. You could also ask your learners to do the same so that they'll be able to share. Kay kung imo na siyang buhaton ngayon na what normally would happen is that the learners will be enticed na mura siya magpahambog ito, uy nga no gibuhat nga nakaya na ko akong activity for the week ni mata jud ko alas 8 di jud pwede mo lapas og alas 8 nya dapat inig mata kay naligo ko nagtrabaho ko dayon wa pa ko nag ML akong ML kay gabi ira, so on and so forth. And that would make your interaction with the learners more engaging, and you can expect that on the coming or upcoming sessions that you would be able to see your learners smiling and entice or engage in participating in your lecture. Now, how do we connect with our students? Gamay na lang ni Sia. How do we connect with our students? There's a lot, no? Even with MS Teams, we already have a lot of channels or opportunities for us to be able to connect with our students. First is Teams call. What is a Teams call? Just like what we're doing right now, this is a Teams call. We are able to basically engage with each other, talk, discuss something. Virtual office hours. What is the virtual office hours? Virtual office hours is kind of a team's call. It's just that the difference is that it's not on schedule or not really scheduled to have a class. The learners, mura siya consultation period, wherein the learners at this particular time can go ahead and dial in and be able to talk to the teacher in not in a formal instruction manner, and the student can freely ask questions related to the topic or share insights, so on and so forth. And then Flipgrid, the Flipgrid allows you and your students to record and easily share short videos, continuing the connection in asynchronously on. So sa minute tapos sa Flipgrid, normally if we ask our learners to go ahead and create videos, we ask them to record and then upload to YouTube, diba? Kung emotion awon is a two-way process, no? Two-way siya kay ma-record ka niya. Create po kag kuan kana YouTube nya kopyaon na po nimong link nya i-paste na po nimo isubmit sa maestra. With Flipgrid, what happens is that the teacher can just go ahead and pose a question and then can ask the learners to go ahead and respond using videos. Then they'll just record themselves talking using the app, and then once they're done recording, they can just submit automatically without having to go to another tool or window to be able to do so. We also have conversation in Teams. If you could check your chat box right now, even if we end a conversation and you open your MS Teams, the history would still be there. So that for those who were not able to catch up some of the things that were covered in the conversation, you can just always backtrack to it and be able to understand. So with regards to your student, if they're not able to join the actual synchronous discussion, and there is an interaction in the chat window, then your learners will be able to make a pass of what is being covered or discussed during the synchronous teaching. Right. So these are things, no, that we can actually use. We already have Office 365, and aside from the Office 365, alongside with our account issued by DepEd, we also have the MS Teams account, and then we could also make use of PolyEye. I'm just going to give you a short description because anyway, we'll cover that in MS Teams. PolyEye is a tool that would allow you to create polls or survey easily. Dili na ka moadto og Survey Monkey. Nara sa Teams. You go ahead and create the poll. Butang tag, how are you today? And then you have a selection. I'm good, I'm not good, I'm sad, blah, blah, blah. And you can let your learners take on a selection. And then you, as the creator of the poll, will be able to readily see what the output is so that if you see an answer that's sad, then you can go ahead and immediately reach out to that learner and be able to talk about it and create trust between each other. And then we also have Peer Deck. We'll try to cover that. What's Peer Deck? Peer Deck is like an online PowerPoint. It's like how can you PowerPoint na siya. It's like an online PowerPoint, but it serves as that of kabantay mo atong Mentimeter. Doon na siya yung function ngayon nga na. Pero with Peer Deck, based on my experience, the good thing about this is that pwede bitaw siya mag-control. Kato ang ganhina kay pwede man to dili mo makasulod, pwede mo makasulod bisag wala ako nag-on. Ang Peer Deck is that it's a simultaneous delivery of instruction, and then mabot mo na nga page and then there is a need for interaction. What happens is that ang inyong responses mo display siya diretso. Ako ganhina sa Mentimeter kay na PowerPoint man ko. Kunya para mo ko sa result kay ni-add to na ko web page or website. So I'm using two tools. Pero sa Peer Deck is that the learners are viewing your presentation, and at the same time you can go ahead and interact, and whatever your response is, it's going to be displayed as a line bar or table, no, or a pie chart showing the spread of the answers. And you can even, as a teacher doing Peer Deck, you can even ask your learners to go ahead and draw, no, using their mouse. If you want them to draw something, this is a good tool that can be used in ASP. Kaya diba sa ASP normally you would ask them to go ahead and draw your emotion or draw a symbol of you. It can be used, and then your outputs can be readily seen by the teachers, and the teacher can even go ahead and showcase an output from the student thereon. That's the good thing about Peer Deck, and we'll try to cover that on session number 3. And then Flipgrid, you all know that, and then Kahoot. So all of these things, we'll try to cover that in MS Teams. We'll let you know as to how to manipulate these tools using MS Teams. So we are anticipating that there's going to be a lot of you will be in session 3, and that's going to be tomorrow. I know school heads right now would think, why do we need to attend this? These are for teachers. Just like what Sir Dagatan said, you are supposed to be masters of everything associated with teaching, no? And that's the reason why for you to be able to give out proper technical assistance to your learners, that means to say that you also need to know the trick, the skill. And aside from that, like what I mentioned, these tools can also be used for professional development. Just like what happened right now, diba, we have LDM. And normally, what we do with LDM, usay, I'm not saying that this applies to all, but I'm pretty sure most of you is nag-apas, no? Nya usahay, printan, ana. Risoy, kamo ni trabaho, ana. We can actually transform MS Teams into a learning management system wherein all those gitawag na to nga resources are just there, and then you can create an option for your teachers to upload their outputs. Then if you are the school head, then you have access to these outputs, and then it would be easier for you to implement, because really the goal of LDM is not really just, is not to have a full face to face in the delivery, diba? The goal really is to also let you learn as to how distance learning delivery is done. So with MS Teams, we can do that. So in session 3, we will teach you on how to prepare your class, your team, into an environment that would allow us virtual learning without the need for constant kind of supervision among the learners. So that is the reason why that we have the school heads as well here, so that you'll be able to learn the trick and skill, and to be able to do proper technical assistance, and of course for you to advance your profession on utilizing technology for times that you need to deliver trainings, or perhaps meeting or conferences with your colleagues or your subordinates in school. Now, maintaining your connection with students is critical, and the MS Teams and the other tools with Microsoft. I'm sorry to be Microsoft Pro. It's just that they're the ones supporting this training, so I need to stick with Microsoft. So maintaining your connection with students is critical, and it's we are fortunate in that we were provided with a premium service at no cost in our end, to be able to still continue delivering instruction with our learners, to be able to maintain connection, so that despite the pandemic or the separation that resulted to the separation of the teacher and the learners, is that we're still able to provide the learning that they deserve. Okay, so how do you maintain school-wide routines? Mao gihapon no, now gihapon ko na ng pledge, ng prayer, school song, na po yung principal morning greeting. If I'm pretty sure you have seen DepEd TV. Kabanta mo sa DepEd TV, inig ka alas 8, alas 7, mag-flag, no? Flag yun na siya, ya doon na flag, and then panatang makabayan. And then inig ka human na niya kay secretary's message. And that has been the routine every day. So bisan lang balik-balik ng storya ni secretary diha, mo na siya i-play kag Monday up until Saturday after every raising of the flag. So the same thing is being suggested when you're doing remote teaching, that these things are still being done, and especially perform the way it should be, even in gitawag na to nga face to face. Kay brag na bantayan ako nga kung mag virtual, no, kung na flag di na mamarog ang mga tao, no, dili na gani mabutang sila mga kamot, sila mga chest. And that's something that we still need for our learners to retain. Kay dapat this pandemic should not change the valued culture and tradition that we used to practice before the pandemic. Right. And let go of the need to be perfect, no? Dili kinahanglan nga perfect kay ang delivery, but just make sure that ang ato ra jud tanawon diri dapita is that, are you able to meet the learning objectives? It doesn't have to be perfect, but at least you're able to deliver what is expected to deliver, and that your learners are engaged and participative to the activities that you're conducting. And don't forget about social and emotional learning. And that's the reason why, as much as possible, we do not give out classroom instruction beyond 5 p.m. because they also have lives after classroom. Diba? Kutob sa na, kama alas 5, manguli na sila. Diba? Ato na sila sa home. But with this pandemic, they're not allowed to go out of their homes. At least, at a particular time interval, 5 p.m. or 4:30 p.m., the discussion or class-related stuff should be ended, so that they'll be able to do other stuff, such as social and emotional learning, by interacting with their other family members. All right. And then if you want to get more resources related to remote teaching, we'll go ahead and share you the links. Tomorrow we'll be providing you a website that details all the sessions that we'll cover, including the slide decks that we're using, so that should you wish to do a re-echo on this in your own schools, then you already have the materials, everything. And aside from that, this session is actually recorded, so we will also share you the recording of this session for you to be able to peruse and review if there's anything that you wanted to do. Now, we will not really make use of the time, no, to do the activity. It's just going to be a homework. What's going to happen here for activity number one, in a Microsoft Word, just create a table with two columns, time and activity, and then just for a day, go ahead and try to plot your schedule. No, butatag Monday, kaya mo man ay pinaka-busy. Just go ahead and plot the time slots as well as the activity. Once you're done, please save it. And then once you're done saving it, para makailamin ninyo, please save that after your murag dili day pwede ang email, no? Kung unsay username nimo, di ba ta ako fernando.enad@r71.depa.gov.ph. So I'll name that as fernando.enad para dali na mo makitaan. And then once you're done, you go ahead and please upload that to tinyurl.com. BOH NSET CD2 submissions. I guess Surgeon Boy was able to discuss that a while ago. So you just have to make sure that you wrote your name properly because that's the basis of your certificate, and then you upload the required, no, activity. Mupili lang kita sa sakto nga drop down kung unsa nga session activity nyo i-submit para mataro na mo trace kung kinsang wala pa o kinsang naapa. Okay. This is offered in a remote learning as well, so we'll also be lenient in terms of deadlines. So please go ahead and take a look on or take a screenshot on the link so that you will be able to work on this. Kay mao ni siya rason actually nga 3 hours ra siya. So that for the rest of the day that we're not interacting with each other, you can do offline. Kay mao man siya among gi-propose dito nga dunay offline activity para ma-count siya as a whole day, and then we have 3 days. So I hope they're able to take a copy or to take a screenshot. And before we call it a day, please take note of this. Gitawag na to nga training code. Gi-share din nga hapon, no? Again, hapon. Ganina. So for districts of Inabanga, North and South, CPG, Garcia, Sagbayan, San Isidro, San Miguel, please log on to your Microsoft Educator account and then redeem this code. That's T-FED4C5820. And then for districts of Talibon 1, Talibon 2, Trinidad 1, Trinidad 2, Ubay 1, Ubay 2, and Ubay 3, please make use of the code T-GBB ECD720 so that you will be able to get a badge in your Microsoft profile account. So if you have some questions, we'll not hold you for long. Please go ahead and write your questions on the chat box, and then we'll try to answer that during the management of learning tomorrow. So again, don't worry, we'll paste the codes in the chat box, and then please continue sending your questions related to whatever has been discussed today, so that we'll be able to address that during the management of learning for tomorrow. Thank you all so much for the participation, and this ends session 1. Thank you. Surgeon Boy, do you have anything, sir?
Sir, wala na sir, wala na sir.
Okay. Sige, mga na to, kung may mga questions, please use the chat box so that we'll be able to answer that in the management of learning by tomorrow. And tomorrow will exactly, we will start the singing of hymns at 8:50, so that at exactly 9, we will be able to start with the actual topic na. So we'll have the management of learning prior to 9. Okay, mga around 5 minutes naman ang kuan, makabayan song and prayer. And then we'll have about 5 minutes management of learning, hopefully. And then we'll be able to start on 7:09. Okay. May question, sir, about sa temporary 365 account, when man kaha? I'll do my best to be able to do it right after this session. Just keep track of your email. I'll be sending out the credentials to your email, sir. So please watch out. Please make sure that your emails are correct, so that kuan kana ma-fix na siya. Sir Boy, can you please paste again the kuan sir attendance link sir in katong Google Docs? Kay napa kuno dili ka open og tiny URL. Murag naka-feel pug ko sir nga ang tiny URL kay nay problem ron. Usahay gid siya more direct.
Katong ganina sir narong spelling ra to sir. Ang ihang
Ano ang
tiny
spelling?
URL walay y.
Okay. Kana mag-copy no. Mama na. Kana mag-copy nga na sa PDF.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes. Sige, ako lang
Alright.
i-follow.
Okay, once again, thank you all so much. Question, incognito ba ni browser? I-open ng Office 365. Pwede rag dili. Pwede rag dili siya incognito. Pwede ra kaayo o sa kuan siya kanang existing yung nga browser but expect nga there are times nga murag mo kuan siya mo issue dunay issue, no? Issue ana kay mag-conflict ang mga tokens sa each of the accounts. So mo na nga we normally suggest that you open your account through incognito mode to avoid such conflict in tokens. So just please continue sending your questions. It's already 12. We will not hold you for long. Sir Jimboy, can you please do the closing prayer, sir?
Okay, so um, for the closing prayer, let's put our selves in the presence of the Lord. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for everything today, for the gift of life. We thank you, Lord, for the success of today's session. We are hoping for your enlightenment of the Holy Spirit that we will be guided and we will internalize what went through this morning. We hope, Lord, that you will be with us, abide us as we go along with our work and also for tomorrow's session and the success of the training. Bless every one of us that we may be stay fit and healthy as we are doing our functions in your glory. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
All right. Have a great lunch, everyone, and see you tomorrow. Bye bye. Well, stay put for about 30 minutes to answer some questions nga makita na mo sa message box, but you're free to go. Thank you so much. Goodbye, everyone. Thank you so much, Surgeon Boy, for catching.
No problem, sir. Saan man jud, naman jud yung mga incidents nga, unexpected.
Lagi. Okay. So
Okay.
yes, sir. We will share the recorded session. We'll share based on the attendance. We'll send you an email within the day. Nga dunay kuan kanang link towards the recorded session. Rest assured of that. Sige, sir.
Okay, so amara to, sir. See you tomorrow, everyone.
See you, sir. Bye bye.
Okay. LDE mode. Sige, sir. Okay, leave na ko, sir,
Sige,
ha.
sir. Bye bye, sir.